So in this video I'm going to analyze the 4.6 special program, and first I'm going to watch the trailer and say what I think about it, and then I'm going to talk about other points that I saw during the live stream. So now let's watch the trailer.
On occasion, we hold barbecue dinners at the house. They hunt for food, compete with each other, even cooperate.
Yeah, this is very interesting because as you can see she sits on this fire throne and sometimes she just glitches, which I think could be connected to the title of the quest that's coming out in this version, which I think is called something like The Child That Shouldn't Exist or something, which I think could be connected to why she glitches and she seems maybe even not real or something like that. And also some of her connections that I'll talk about later.
They enjoy participating in activities like that.
Yeah, there you can see the glitching.
And the feeling is mutual. After all, it's always possible certain familiar faces will be missing from the crowd the next time a similar...
Yeah, and this line is probably very important because it talks about how someone is missing, which probably could also be connected to the title of the quest, which is something about a missing child, which I don't think is a coincidence. And that could also be the thing that Fremine talks about later in this trailer. Also, this in the back is clearly Remuria, which I know because of all of this gold, and also Remuria is obviously the new region released in this version.
Event rolls around.
Something has come up, and since it pertains to Cyrus...
Yeah, this part is about Cyno's second story quest, which I don't think has any connection to anything else that's happening in Fontaine right now, which means I don't think it has any connections to Arlecchino's story quest or the boss fight or anything like that. I don't know why they decided to release this quest in this patch instead of version 4.5, because I think that could have probably been better, but anyway, they decided to release it now, and that's fine too, I guess, but as I said, I don't think it has any connections to anything else that's happening in the story right now.
and Cyno, I deemed it essential to inform you all.
It was a great plan, shrouded in secrecy.
We all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord.
Yeah, and in case some of you think that this talks about King Deshret, I don't think that's the case. I think it talks about the spirit or something connected to Cyno's backstory. You can read it in his profile, and I don't remember all of it right now, but I think it's some spirit that kind of possessed him or something, and that's why he has the powers that he has right now. And I think that's what they are talking about, not King Deshret or something like that.
That's how I gained my power.
Yeah. That's I think the line that kind of confirms it for me. Also, this is clearly not connected to the quest. This is a part of Remuria, as you can see the boss that we get in this new patch right here. And also all of these musical instruments clearly confirm that this is Remuria.
The old man's been putting the pressure on.
Yeah, and this line is very important, as you can hear probably in the back. It's spoken by Child, and it talks about probably Piero, because I don't think that this old man is actually Pulcinella, which is the only other character this line could describe, and I don't think that's him, because I don't think he has the power to send Tartaglia somewhere, so I don't think that's him.
He sent someone to tell me I'm needed for some sort of project.
Project Stuja?
Yeah, and this project is probably very important, because Stuja I think means something like extreme cold in Russian. So that means that could probably be part of the Tsaritsa's plan to maybe freeze some part of Teyvat. And I think Arlecchino could be very concerned about her children in the House of the Hearth, so maybe that's why it seems in this whole trailer that she's opposing to Fatui. And that's also why I think she's fighting the siblings and Fremine, because I think that she wants to be replaced by Lini and do her own thing to kind of oppose the Fatui and not let the children die.
Participating in the plan will lose.
Yeah, and this line confirms it, because as you can see, Lini says that this plan will lose, because of this plan they will lose a lot of members in the process, which kind of confirms it. And I think that Alrecchino doesn't want to lose a lot of members, obviously, so I think that she opposes the Fatui's plan. And you can see that this is also Remuria, and this part is probably entirely underwater, and this seems like something like a aquabas that we can see in Fontaine, which confirms that Remuria is very closely tied to Fontaine. And this also makes very good sense, because according to Narsenkreuz's notes, Remuria is basically the previous incarnation of Fontaine in the previous Samsara.
It's a lot of members in the process.
I did not.
Yeah, and this is the new boss, obviously, in this new version, and it's in Remuria, and it seems to be some kind of statue that has gone alive.
Anticipate we would meet again after.
Yeah, and this line confirms that the Knave will meet Nuvlat again, but I don't think Nuvlat will play an important role in this quest, because he is not shown anywhere in the trailer, and I think he will just be there to talk with the Knave for a bit, or maybe he'll just be in a short flashback or something. Also, this line could mean that she has not yet given the gnosis to the Tsaritsa, but I'm not sure about that.
Presenting you with the gnosis.
If you accept my proposal, Monsieur
Yeah, and this is interesting because she talks about a proposal.
unless absolutely.
Yeah, and this is probably the proposal, which is that if he will do something for her, which I'm not sure what that is yet, but I think that it could be that he will take care of the House of the Heart, while she could resign from being a Fatui Harbinger, and maybe that's also why she fights us.
Necessary, I will no longer.
Yeah, and I think that if she indeed wants to stop being a Harbinger, then that's because she doesn't agree with that project that Tartaglia mentions at the very beginning.
Carry out any special missions within Fontaine.
Yeah, and I don't think there is anything new in this picture, except you can very clearly see the Crimson Moon in the back, which is probably very important, and it could also signify that she's somehow some way connected to Khaenri'ah, and maybe to Perrin Harry, as everyone theorized before. Yeah, and in this picture you can very clearly see that she has a wing, which is why I said earlier that she probably has some connections to angels and wings in my previous video, and that has proven very right. And later you can see that the way she displays those wings in her boss fight is that they copy exactly what her necklace is, which is these 4 wings and 2 straight-ish lines on the sides. Also, it's very cool how she uses a scythe. That's actually a polearm, but let's say that it's a scythe. And there you could also see again the glitches.
Transfixed.
Yeah, and this is again the Crimson Moon.
Everlasting as the moon.
And this is obviously a part of Cyno's second story quest, but this line, I think, doesn't have anything to do with the story quest. I think that's also part of Arlecchino's story quest.
Order once given cannot be.
And this is the new character that I think is called Setos. I think he has electrovision, but that's all I really know about him, and I don't think he's important right now to the story. Or rather, the story outside of Cyno's second story quest.
Be rescinded.
Do you have any idea what you're doing? You're hiding the very person Father has been trying to find. I really didn't.
Yeah, and I think this person that Father has been trying to find is somehow some way connected to the missing people that she mentioned at the very start of this trailer.
Need to drag anyone else into this. If Father finds out about this, everyone involved is going to be punished.
A traitor. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one.
You'd like me to return my power?
And I think this is also why I said earlier that I believe that this is connected to his backstory, because they earlier talked about some revival, and I think it is connected to his spirit or whatever, rather than King Deshret.
I'm really looking forward to this rite of duels. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been awesome.
And this is obviously part of her boss fight and also her story quest. And this line is very important because that's also why I said what I said earlier, because I believe that she wants Lyney to replace her, as we have seen in his voice lines. And I think this is because she fears for their lives in this new project that Tartaglia talks about.
Want you to become the next king of the house.
Yeah, and there you can very clearly see her wings, which later turn into some sort of spider legs or something like that. And they even say this in this live stream, but right now it looks like wings, so I think I was still kind of correct, but you can judge that for yourselves.
You seem to have different ideas.
I'm not saying.
Yeah, and there you can see Linny. I think Lynette is somewhere in the back here, but we can't see her right now. But there is also Fremine, and I think they are fighting her, but it doesn't look to me that she wants to kill them seriously. I think she just wants to fight them for the sake of fighting them or teaching them a lesson or something. And maybe this could also be part of her plan, in which she wants Linny to replace her. Or she could try to betray the Fatui this way. But I don't know yet how this is all connected.
I have all the answers, but doing so will only bring us further away from being a real.
Yeah, in this shot you can very clearly see that there is Lynette, there is Fermine, and there is Linny in the back. So it seems like she's fighting him, and maybe these two just join the fight.
Your words paint an optimistic picture indeed. Allow me to remind you, however, few among us.
There is one interesting mention of the tainted water by Novelette, but I don't know how that's connected to Arlecchino, because the tainted water was important back when we learned about Oceanids and why they leave the country, but right now I don't know how that's important.
So willing to sip from a glass filled with tasty water.
I'll make sure.
And now she talks about purifying and impurities, which is interesting because her constellation is called the Purifying Fire. But I don't think that has anything to do with the tainted water.
Drained of all impurities and returned to its cleanest form. Good things come to children who do as they're told.
Yeah, and there you can see how the wings kind of transformed, probably, in these like spider legs. But I don't know how that happened, and you can very clearly see there are some strings.
So I do hope you decide to tag along.
There are many dangers ahead, and I, for one, don't intend to back down.
I don't want to disobey an order from Father.
So why? Why have you backed us into a corner?
No demonstration of loyalty shall go unrewarded.
Yeah, this fight is very cool. I don't have much more to say, other than, as I said before, these four wings and these two lines look exactly like her necklace that she has normally on her. And I think that is not a coincidence, and maybe that the necklace has some more significance that we don't know maybe yet.
Unrewarded, and no sacrifice shall be in vain.
Yeah, this new version looks very cool. I'm very excited for it, and I'm going to obviously pull for Alrecchino. I'm probably going to also main her, but that still waits to be seen. I don't know. And I'm very excited for the story. I'm very surprised also that they decided to make this a story quest and not an Archon quest, which was obviously what I expected, as I said in my previous video. But I think it's okay in the end. It's just that the story quest looks like it's gonna be pretty important. So I wonder if it's one of these like necessary story quests to complete to progress the Archon quest in the future. Also, even this title hints at her being connected to Perrin Harry, because it talks about these two wars and flames and all that. Alright, that's all I wanted to say about this trailer. Now I'm just going to talk about some other things that I noticed throughout this whole video. So the first important thing I noticed is that at the very start of her boss fight, you can see these little things there that look something like a pari, but I don't think these are pari. I think these are probably something angel-like, and they also have some fire symbolism. As you can see, they look a little like little fires. And she kind of absorbs them in her boss fight, so I wonder what this means. The other thing that I found interesting is that they decided to add Remuria and Petrichor in this patch, and I only expected them to add Petrichor to this patch, and I didn't even know that Remuria was a possibility, but I guess it fits. And what's important is that in Petrichor there is supposed to be the Daydream Club, which could be important. It was mentioned way back in version 1 point something, I don't remember exactly when. And also it's the town where René de Petrichor is from, so that's interesting. Also I think that the way we get to Remuria will be pretty similar to the way we get to Enkanomia, which means that we will have to do some world quest and that will probably lead us to Remuria. And you can see later in the live stream that there is some talking cat that will lead us there. And also it's pretty surprising that we didn't get a Dainsleif quest in this patch, which means that we'll probably get one in the next patch, and if not, then that means that we will just skip Dainsleif in this whole Fontaine cycle, which is interesting, and I didn't expect that, because I think we will still get one in the next patch. But anyway, it's interesting to see that they changed the formula somehow, because I expected the Dainsleif quest to be first and then Arlecchino, but I guess it's the other way around. And the last important thing I noticed is that this here is supposed to be a dragon, at least they say so in these voice lines, and that means that this could probably be Scylla, which is a dragon king way back from the Age of Remuria, which was defeated by Remus, and it seems that it is trapped there. So I wonder if the world quest will be linked to this dragon, or at least it looks like a whale, but I think that in Genshin it really isn't that strict with the definition of a dragon, because as we saw in the Nuts and Croyd's world quest, an ocean was also called a dragon, so I think this could also be considered a dragon, and it would actually fit very well if this was Scylla. Alright, that's all I have to say for this very quick video, and I will probably also add some more notes that I found through the editing, but this will be all that I wanted to say in this short video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will probably make something more about this patch once it actually comes out, and see you in the next one.